Introduction. C#2Angular is free open source tool. Slide number 1. C#2Angular implemented as Microsoft Visual Studio extension, .v6. Consists of 5 wizards. DB Context Wizard, Model Views Wizard, Web API Services Wizard, JavaScripts Wizard, Feature Scripts Wizard. To launch any wizard, the developer can use the Visual Studio context menu. All 5 wizards are available for projects created in Visual Studio, and only 2 wizards are available for projects added by the command for an existing website. Slide number 2. The following requirements must be met to begin development. Microsoft Visual Studio 2019, Community Edition or higher. Visual Studio Code. Node.js. TypeScript. Angular CLI. Slide number 3. Important note. Wizards generate code based on the Angular Material UI component library. Generator scripts for ng Bootstrap and ngx Bootstrap have not yet been implemented. Slide number 4. Talking about generator scripts. Generators are built on the basis of T4 text template Microsoft technology. As a result, the developer can modify or rewrite any T4 script at any time. The latter makes C#2Angular an extremely flexible application development tool that speeds up the development process by several times. Slide number 5. The development process cycle consists of the following steps. The developer starts with first entity, which is C# entity framework class. Using DB context wizard, developer generates new or modify existing entity framework DB context. Using model views wizard, developer defines and generates views, which is subset of properties of current entity and its masters. Using Web API Services wizard, developer defines and generates Web API services. Using JavaScripts wizard, developer defines and generates rich client interface as TypeScript components. Using Feature Scripts wizard, developer arranges generated components on the pages. The developer adds next entity to the project and repeats all the steps above. Slide number 6. Typical web app. Now it's time to get acquainted with a typical web application created using C#2Angular. An overview of the main aspects of such an application will help illuminate the class of tasks whose solution C#2Angular automates. In other words, the goal is to show what you can get at the end of the development process. Slide number 7. We start from DB structure. Note number 1. Country is a master for dialect, publisher, author. Note number 2. Language is a master for dialect. Note number 3. Genre, author, dialect are masters for manuscript. Note number 4. Manuscript, publisher, edition are masters for book. Slide number 9. Creating such a strange database, we sought to achieve 2 goals. Have a master detail chain longer than 2. Country, author, manuscript, book. Country, dialect, manuscript, book. Have a node that has more than 1 master. Dialect, genre, author are masters for manuscript. Slide number 10. With C#2Angular, a developer can model and generate editing forms with master detail relationships at the user controls level, with the following rules. Any user control of the detailed entity is disabled until the user control of the master entity is defined. For instance, user control for manuscript will be disabled until the user control for author is defined. Any user control of the detailed entity Displays data with applied filter. Defined by the user control of the master entity. For instance, user control for manuscript. Displays manuscripts of the selected author. Slide number 11. With C#2Angular, a developer can model and generate the pairs of tabular data forms with master detail relationships, where selecting row in the master table fires event to apply filter in the detail table. Function to add, update, delete to the details table is available. User controls associated with the master entity are disabled and filled with the correct data even for the add item form. Slide number 12. With C#2Angular, a developer can model and generate Angular routing navigation chains of any length. Navigation is carried out from the row of the master table. It fires event to apply filter in the detail table. Function to add, update, delete to any table in the navigation chain is available. And again, the user controls associated with the master entity are disabled and filled with the correct data even for the add item form. Slide number 13. With C#2Angular, a developer can model and generate user interface based on the dialog boxes and, or, on routing. Using user interface based on the dialog boxes, add, update, delete form is displayed as a dialog. Using user interface based on the routing, add, update, delete form is displayed as a separate page to root. Slide number 14. With FeatureScripts Wizard, a developer can model and generate pages with one or more child tabular forms. On such pages, only one child form can support rooting. Slide number 15. With C#2Angular, a developer generate dashboard with ready-to-use user authentication. Slide number 16. All components generated with C#2Angular support bitmask-based authorization. A developer can generate bitmask-based authorization that uses Microsoft ASP.NET Storage, or a set of components that can be used independently. This approach requires additional coding.